We are? Okay.
Here's one right now.
Oh my gosh. So, I'm here today in Southern California with the beautiful Miss Tiana Lovett. And Tiana is a freelance dancer, full-time dance teacher, and yoga practitioner. So, Tiana, thank you so much for being here today and sharing with us. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about your dance background? Like, when did you start dancing, and what styles have really called to you, and what has led you to become the dancer that you are today?
Yeah, so, I mean, I have the cliche answer of I've been dancing my whole life. You know, I don't remember a time when I wasn't dancing. I started dancing actually when I was probably 2 or 3, but before that, I danced around the house all the time anyway. But I started taking it more seriously around, 12, 13. That's when I really decided that I wanted to use that as my career. And so I was going on the path of ballet, classical ballet. I ended up moving to Houston when I was 16 and training with Houston Ballet Academy. From there,
Nice.
From there, I moved to Utah, which I'm still there now, and I was a trainee with a company for a bit.
And which company was that?
Ballet West.
Ballet West, okay.
Yeah.
So, from Houston Ballet to Ballet West. And
after that, there were lots of reasons, but I ended up deciding to stop doing ballet and switch over to a modern dance career, which has just been absolutely wonderful. It was a big transition for me. It was a big choice. And I've been freelance. I've been doing modern freelance since then. And then I also teach.
Nice. And what kind of classes do you teach in Salt Lake?
I teach a lot of things. I teach mostly contemporary and ballet, though.
Okay, and what age range of students?
6 to 18.
6 to 18.
I teach a lot of classes. I have a lot of students.
Oh, that's so fun, though.
Yeah.
So, when did yoga become a part of your life? When did you get introduced to that?
Yoga, I introduced that into my life maybe about 2 years ago. I'm trying to think about how I came about that. It was probably you.
Me? Just let's go to yoga class. That sounds like me.
But it was around the time that I met you, actually. Just when we started dancing together a little bit. But
oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, I know Tiana from we used to dance together in Salt Lake City and did a couple pieces together. And we've stayed friends since then and used to practice yoga a whole bunch when I lived in Salt Lake. So reconnecting here in California.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. So I had taken a few yoga classes, but when I met you, I was actually very inspired to, really fully bring that into my life and bring that to fruition. So that's how I started practicing.
Okay, so what was the first class or first experience where you really fell in love, where yoga really touched you? Do you have a memory of that at all?
I have a memory of I was taking at a studio called Avenues Yoga, and the owner, her name is Chanda, and she is just the most knowledgeable, inspirational human, She's trained in India, she's trained in Bali, she teaches a phenomenal class.
She is living, breathing, doing it yoga goddess for sure.
And so I took one of her classes, and she just approached it more hands-on and more personal than I had ever experienced. Before the class, she asked me about myself, and she asked what my body needed today, which even in dance, I've never had anyone ask me that question, what I needed. Yeah, and I was so just taken back. I'm I don't know. What do I need?
Can you just tell me? I feel like so many dancers, it's just we're always doing what we're told, for someone else's aesthetic to please someone else. Always, and a lot of times pushing past what our body is comfortable with, asking, what do you need today? Is this okay? Can all these movements that we do, and really push our bodies and then don't really know. We've never been taught like how to check in at the end of the day after a long class.
I had never really had an experience checking in with my body, and so that's really what drew me to yoga, is like having that first experience of, oh, I can decide what I do with my body. I can make an active choice and really see what I need and what I need to do today.
That's beautiful. So what do you feel like you needed when you first started? Like, what was it? The more
there were a lot of
things. Yeah.
There were a lot of things I needed. At first, it was definitely restorative. It's definitely shifted over the years. But at first, I really needed a restorative practice because I hadn't ever had that. I had never taken a class in my life that was about restoring and relaxing and like taking care of your body. It was always pushing your body and like trying to do something better, trying to work harder. And for once I was like, it feels amazing to just like be and to just like let everything open and like be comfortable and
slow down, taking that time,
yeah.
like to be with your breath and body. Wow, that's beautiful. That's powerful. I feel like that's something a lot of dancers are missing in their practice, is that slow down.
We don't get that much. Yeah.
So how has your yoga practice, now that you've been doing it a couple years and you do it like almost every day and it's been really become a part of your life, how has that changed you as a dancer? What do you think has been like the benefits of bringing in a daily practice into your life?
There are so many benefits, but the thing that always has me continuing to practice, continuing to do yoga is gratitude. I'm actually grateful for my life now. Whereas, and there are a lot of different styles of dance, and since I come from such a ballet background, it can be very negative. It can be a bit of a toxic environment, and not every single ballet class or not every single ballet teacher is that way, but there are a lot.
Where you're kind of looking at what you can't do or what solo you don't have, rather than what you can do and what amazing feats your body is capable of.
And there's so much, it's like my body can't do this, like I'm not flexible enough, like my knees hurt every day, and like you said, like I didn't get this role, I wanted to do this solo, and it's like that's so much of the focus. And so shifting to yoga, and I've never had a teacher that hasn't taught gratitude within the practice. And I love just being able to go take my class and be like grateful to be in that moment, grateful to have my body. And like one of my favorite moments I've ever had practicing yoga was, the teacher's name is Becca. And I think it's funny because at first when I experienced this, I thought it was really strange. Because again, just my background, I thought it was a weird thing that we did. And we'd lay on our backs and we'd start pulling our right leg in. And she goes, all right, and tell your leg, this is your favorite right leg. I love you, right leg. And then we'd switch legs and we'd do it to the other leg. And I thought it was... I remember
she'd be like, kiss your knee.
Kiss your knee, yeah. And I thought it was so silly at first. I'm like, why are we doing this? And then the more I did it, because I kept going to her class, I was like, oh my God, I have a right leg. It's like, I have a right leg, I have a left leg, I can walk, I can run, I can practice yoga, I can stretch. The more you do it, the more I think it's so important to tell yourself every day that you're grateful for what you have. Because since I was doing that, I'm like, I am grateful I can stand. And before that, I'm like, my knees hurt.
Yeah.
It's just such a different mindset.
Mindset is everything. Like your perspective, you create your own reality.
Yeah. But that's been so important to me. And I guess bringing it back to how it's helped with dance is that now I can appreciate actually being in the studio. So instead of being like, my body hurts today, I'm like, I can do this today.
Yeah.
Like I can dance. Not everyone can dance. Like I'm able to enjoy that moment. And I'd be able to enjoy and be grateful being on stage instead of being scared or nervous or, like I can be like, I am so happy I'm here to dance on this stage today.
Yeah, especially when you're training so long to have that one moment on stage. If you're just thinking about, you know, what you don't have or what you're not good at, you're going to miss that moment that dancers work so hard for, that moment on stage to perform for people. And I feel like practicing that, just getting a habit of gratitude is definitely something great that comes from yoga.
Yeah, and I also, like, I've taken up journaling, but I have a gratitude journal. And again, just gratitude it's changed everything in my life. And so I continue to progress in that and trying to always be as grateful as I can. So every day I, like, in the morning I open up my gratitude journal and I, like, write down everything I'm grateful for. And it can be so simple, like, it can be like, I'm grateful I have my family, or like, I'm grateful I have a comfortable bed to sleep in, little things.
Oxygen to breathe.
Yeah.
Like a heart that's beating.
And I'm grateful, like, I have this body and I can dance in this body.
Yeah. Just for the body, so much. So also, going on to that, how has yoga, like, changed your relationship with your body? So a lot of dancers can definitely struggle with, you know, their relationship with their body. So I'd be really interested to hear about that. Yeah,
so I was one of those ballerinas that had a lot of issues with my own body and a lot of, I guess, like, body dysmorphia. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that, like, a lot of people just, like, say it like it's nothing. And it's like, no, I really did. And, you know, I would look at myself in the mirror every day and be like, I'm fat. Like, my butt's too big. My thighs are too big. And because you're trying to strive to be thin and tall and long, and that's never been what I am. And that's fine. But then again, I go to yoga and they say, like, be grateful for your body, and, like, you know, like, just what I was saying before is, like, I can actually use my body to do this. And so I started shifting into, versus thinking about how I look, thinking about what my body can do and how I can use my body and how it feels. And so just starting there changed something. Instead of, like, looking at my thighs and thinking, like, wow, they're big, I'm thinking, like, my thighs are so strong. Like, my thighs are strong, so they allow me to dance. They allow me to jump. They allow me to do this and that, instead of thinking they're big. You know, so shifting into, again, what I can do with my body, how I can utilize it, changed a lot, first off. And then also just continuing to practice gratitude within yoga and just, like, really finding the beauty in myself. And I also say a lot that it's important to find yourself beautiful so you can find other people beautiful. Because when I was self-conscious about myself, I was reflecting that onto other people. So, you know, I looked at other people just even on the street and I was thinking, like, oh, like, and not consciously. It's not like I'm super judgmental. It's really subconscious, but I'm looking at other people and I'm like, oh, like I said, like, your thighs are big, and, like, that'll just pass my brain as I walk by
when
this
really
person.
It's just, like, a judgment on yourself.
Yes. And now that I, like, love my own body and I love the skin that I'm in, I think everyone is beautiful now, and I don't have that immediate, like, subconscious judgment in my brain when I see other people. There's no
competition, there's no comparison. Like, everyone's just beautiful in their own right. Yeah. I think that's the really beautiful thing about yoga, too, is that it meets you where you are. You don't have to become, there's no, like, perfect image to strive to be, you know? Like, it fits everyone's body perfectly because it's about listening to your body.
There's not a body type you have to match. That's the ideal. Whereas in ballet, there just is, unfortunately. And so just scratching that and moving into, it's about how you feel in your body. Just so different, so wonderful.
That's so beautiful. So now with this, like, new awareness of yourself and your body, like, how, and you know how it is to be a young dancer growing up in that environment of that very, like, kind of, can be very toxic and very demanding and very harsh on your, you know, dancers can be very harsh on themselves. Like, how do you take this new awareness to your classes, to your students? Like, how has yoga affected your teaching?
I very purposefully teach in a way that I was not taught. You know, I had great teachers, but once I moved up into, like, intense ballet academies, everything just got so intense and so harsh and so negative and so just destructive.
Very cutthroat.
Very cutthroat, and I want to make sure that's not what I show, and that's not what I bring to my students in my classes. I always make sure my kids know I love them. I think that's like first step is like make sure they know you're on their side. And I tell them every day at the end of class, I'm like, all right, I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. Like I always tell them I love them every day because I feel like it's so easy to think that your teacher isn't on your side.
Judging you.
They're judging you. They're against you. They're criticizing you just to criticize you. And it's like, no, I'm correcting you to help you progress.
All about that shift in perspective.
Yes. So I always make sure that, again, they know that I love them. But
Are there any like physical aspects that you've learned like from yoga that you bring to them to help them kind of protect themselves from injury or anything like that?
Yes, I always make sure that they tell me if something hurts. I never did that with my teachers, you know, because we were taught like deal with it. You hurt, your body hurts, push through it.
Yeah, like you're gonna hurt, you're a dancer, it's normal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I make sure they're not pushing through injuries. I always have them tell me when something hurts. I make sure it's taken care of. I tell them to go easy. Like, they don't need to push through the pain. It's not necessary. Yeah. It's not beneficial.
And you probably have some like poses you can like give them too sometimes.
Oh yeah, I always give them stretches and poses that I think will help them, and they usually do. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I really like to make sure that their body feels good. I like to make sure they know that they're loved. And I like them to remember that dance is a community, because that's really easy to forget. And also, no one really teaches that to kids in dance. Mm-hmm. No one teaches kids that dance is a community. And it's a beautiful community if you really utilize it and let it happen. And so something I like to do a lot in my improvisational classes, my contemporary improvisational classes, is we'll start just by walking, and I tell them not to ignore eye contact. That's something that happens really easily in dance, is you ignore your eye contact. And so I tell them just as they're walking, look at each other. And then from there, I tell them to just hug someone. Mm. And so they all have to hug someone. And so the people that don't take my class often, they always like laugh at first, right? Mm-hmm. And then I tell them, keep walking, and like hug someone else. And just starting class off like that builds that with sense of love, and I'm not alone. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this as part of a community. Because dance isn't for self, it's for, again, community. It's for everyone. Dance is for everyone.
That's the roots of dance, like, you know, tribal dance, that was a community thing, like all...
Celebrations.
Yeah, at the root of it is a celebration.
Yeah. So I really like to remind my kids that dance is a community, and you know, I get that from yoga, because like yoga was the first place I went to, and it was like we're all doing this together, and you know, everyone like finishes class and we just look around and like smile at each other, and again, the teacher asks all of us what we need, and so it's like a group effort. It's like we're here as a group, and so I like to bring that to my kids, and I think that it's really beneficial, and I think it's something that is changing my students' mindset, and if I can change their mindset, then they grow up to be wonderful adults that'll share it with other people as well.
Yeah, even if they don't continue dancing, like you're still planting the seeds like in their mind.
I totally don't mind if none of my students end up becoming professional dancers. It's not about that for me. I try to give them something that they can take no matter where they go, no matter what they do with their life. That's like what is so important to me in teaching. I'm not teaching dance. I'm teaching kids how to become wonderful human beings, you know, kind humans. I mean, the cliche of like, I just want people to love one another, and I'm trying to do that from the root of things.
Because yoga taught you how to love yourself.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Everything is just because yoga taught me how to love myself. I couldn't love anything else. I couldn't be grateful for anything else until I was able to find that in myself.
Wow, that's powerful. Oh my gosh, it's so true. Like, it really does start with you. You can't pour from an empty cup, and yoga, it really does teach you how to, you know, listen, find what your needs are, take care of them, and then feel like this beautiful, radiating, like, love for yourself, love for life, and it just overflows onto everyone else you connect with, and it's just, it creates that community, like, effortlessly, just like that. So, just on a final note, do you have any advice for, you know, dancers or dance teachers that maybe haven't tried yoga or haven't found like a self-care practice in their life, do you have any like advice for them or anything?
Just go take a class.
Go do it.
It's all about momentum. It's all about momentum. Like, once you start, you'll keep going and you'll keep building on whatever you need. Again, I needed gratitude. I needed self-love. Once I took one class, I was able to continue that momentum, keep going to class, and find what I needed to find. If you just don't take a step, nothing's going to happen. And I feel like we all need to
take that
step and like strive for progression in oneself,
just to be better dancers and just human beings in general, and keep creating this beautiful art form, this community, this strong knit like creative community that we all love and thrive off of, like that.
Keep it a good place.
Keep it a good place. I like that. Keep it a place where everyone can keep expressing themselves and feel like accepted and loved and pushing the boundaries in a supportive way. Oh, that's amazing. Well, Tiana, thank you so much for sharing this. Seriously, it was such a beautiful conversation. And for anyone who's interested, I'll be putting Tiana's Instagram in the link below. You can follow her. She's a beautiful mover, and you'll get lots of tips on like eco-friendly, sustainable living as well. So yeah, go check this groovy lady out.
All right, thanks for having me.